Alright, so we've got Alundra versus UomoNero. And another Ghost Lake game, this time on the alternate tile set. The snowy tile set, I'm not sure what it's actually referred to. But spawning on the left side of the map, in the, I guess the 9 o'clock position today, we've got Alundra. This is blue Babylonian. And spawning at the 3 o'clock position, as the red Norse player, we've got UomoNero. So we've got the same matchup as last game, so Nero will be sick of playing against Babylonians by the end of this, I think. And Alundra going for an early barracks. He wants to mount early pressure. He's a very aggressive player, Alundra. And Nero still distance gathering wood at this stage. Just working towards his barracks, I suppose. But as the Norse are one of the civs, because they start 50 wood down. They are one of the civs where if you're going to be trying to get your early barracks after your storehouse, they're probably worth doing it off this tree here. Just considering that distance is generally going to be closer than the distance between the closest trees and your town centre. Whereas on the other civs, just because of the travel distance, and Babylonian too, because they've got extra 50 food when they start, but 50 less wood. So there's a barracks going down now for Nero, who's actually sent a villager to go here, get this built up a bit quicker, because the scouts build speed is honestly pretty crappy compared to villager build speed, even compared to other military build speed. And funnily enough, guys, build speed between the units is all different too. So I think throwing axemen and Hajars actually have the fastest, while spearmen actually have like the slowest other than the scouts. And I'm just not so sure about like berserkers. I think they've got the same speed as the spears, where it's not quite the full speed. And Alundra actually adjusting his villagers there, cutting down the distance they've got to travel, so that's quite smart for him. But he's actually got this idle villager here, so he's going to need to get that guy working again soon, but he's on the job. You can see his opponent's barracks got his own down a little bit quicker, so again the Babylonian does get their barracks out a little bit faster in this matchup. And it looks like Alundra has managed to pinch all the 3 sets of sheep in the mid-map. So that's going to be a very big boon to him. He's already got his spears out. He's got 3 here attacking. I think he's sending over his 4th now too. So if you can get to this hunt in time... Oh, and Nero is going to completely march past it. He's going the other way. So this is going to harm Nero because he doesn't have this spear back here to defend. And the second spear is going to come back to defend. But... well, these villagers are going to all be forced off this hunt, so Alundra has already dealt a reasonable amount of damage with this push for very little. Nero just waiting with these villagers, which might not be such a good idea because you've got to wait for enough to take this fight. Babylonian have the strongest spears in the game as well, so even if you're 1-to-1, it's always dicey, and he's down a spear already. He's down 2 spears already because he's lost that one. And again, these tanky Babylonian spears are going to be hard to handle as the Norse player, because you've got 1 less damage and you've got less health, even though you've got your 55 cost spears. The Babylonian ones are actually 60 cost, so they are that little bit stronger, 1-to-1, and the Norse player is going to be forced to retreat here. Back to the town centre fire, but this is going to be enough that he can try and turn this fight. But Alundra is desperately whittling down all these units because he knows if he can catch UomoNero here, it can be very hard for him to catch up. But the spears are going to all fall, and Alundra needs to be careful to not lose any extras. Nero needs to be careful to not overextend here, but continue dealing the damage as best as he can, which he's doing a reasonable job of. He's going to pick this spear off. He's already moved back onto a hunt, so that's beautiful, because if he was stuck on berries he'd truly be disadvantaged, but because he's on another hunt and he didn't lose the storehouse here, he's not actually down economically other than all the time he lost here. He didn't lose any villagers then, although his villager production has been a little bit worse than his opponents. Actually, considering Alundra... oh yeah, it has been worse, sorry. Yeah, he's down at age, because Alundra snuck in age 2, and he's got a nice 3 villager buffer over Nero at the moment. And Nero is going to have to commit to an age 2, so that's going to mean another 3 villagers worth of build time gone, aging up. So That's also something else. Somehow Nero's got a little bit of vision here, but it's not going to tell him much at all. So see that? It's not telling him anything. And he is going to lose that. And Alundra continuing to mass up the spears because he knows that while Nero is only in H1, he can only respond with spears. I think Nero must have been housed for a little bit there because he's, yeah, down on population overall. And Nero's spears are the other side of his base, so Alundra harassing him again, this time pushing him off the gold mine. So this is Nero rallying straight back on though, so that's quite smart for him. But Nero is going to be able to get villagers quite easily here. I mean, Alundra's going to be able to get villagers quite easily here, and Nero is coming in to try and clean this back up, but not before he takes more damage on villagers across both sides of his base now. Oh, that one gets quite low. He does lose one over here, and another. So there's 2 gold villagers going down. One of the stone villagers quite low, and the spears are coming in back over to come and clean up over here. So Alundra really applying the pressure now to Nero. He's taking H2, but it's a late H2, and Alundra has really committed on the spears. He's getting Spearman Champion as well, and that's going to mean the spears, even with a little bit of throwing Axeman fire, are going to be able to deal a lot of damage. And backed up with bowmen and backed up possibly with lancers. Yeah, I think they're going to come too. It's going to be extremely hard for Nero's infantry to deal a lot, other than to the spearmen, who are probably going to be kept a little bit in reserve to try and deal with any lancers that come out. But here we go. There's a mass a mass infantry commitment here from the north because he's getting the 3 barracks, so it's going to mean lots of throwing axemen and a handful of spearmen just to deal with the lancers. But it's going to mean that the bowmen are going to get a nice trade in their favour. Even with lots of throwing axemen, they are still technically soft countered by the bowmen. They are only soft countered though, considering all the other counter infantry. You know, they're not ranged, they're melee, and they don't get a multiplier against range like the throwing axemen do. So the throwing axemen are able to do a little bit of work against this bowman, but it's nothing compared to what the bowman can do to the throwing axemen. And these spears are all going to fall now. The scout is going to fall too, so there is going to be this massive bowman in Nero's base, and a lancer coming in now. So Alundra is really trying to end this one as quickly as he can by the look of it, because he's streaming units across the map again. He's denying all of this gathering. He hasn't even worried to stop to worry about the barracks. He's just trying to kill everything as quickly as he possibly can down here. He's getting villagers garrisoned in the longhouse, so he's worked his way through Nero's resources. Nero doing what he can to defend here, and he's doing a good job, but he's just already too far behind. I think it's going to be very tough for him to try and turn this one around now. And Alundra's Babylonian play is just so aggressive. Getting more villager kills. Right now, villager counts at 35 to 19, so it's already 16 vill difference. GG is called. So poor old Nero. Alundra just didn't let up at all. He managed to get an H2 town centre up, but it was a bit too little too late in a sense. He's got the double production out of them, and I think if he had a bit more to defend here, he could have been able to hold this off, but he probably could have gotten the second barracks out a little bit faster and maybe gone for a stables down here or something, have it in a little bit more of a secure spot so Alundra doesn't get to it immediately. And yeah, guys, GG, well played there. Have a quick look at the stats. So Nero actually outdoing Alundra on text there, and that's sort of the thing too. If you're not spending absolutely perfectly and only grabbing the text you absolutely need, then you can actually leave yourself extremely vulnerable to being pushed into like that, where you just haven't got enough to defend. And we get villagers trained. Alundra obviously one up because of the ox cart, but just seem to be a little bit more consistent on it through that game. And GG, well played, guys. We're going to